Welcome back to Breakfast Television. It is time for Mom Talk. And of course, the holiday season is upon us with the shopping, the preparations, and many social events. It can be stressful for parents. And of course, it can also be a stressful time for high anxiety for children. Now, here to give us some advice on how to deal with this type of anxiety is Clinical Director for the Montreal Center of Depression and Anxiety, Sandra Reich. Right? Montreal Center.
Yes.
Okay, so Sandra, welcome to the show. We've been trying to plan this for a couple of months now.
I know. I'm so happy to be here.
So finally you're here. So what are the signs of anxiety in children these days?
Well, with children, you have to be very careful because it doesn't show up exactly the same way as adults. So the first thing you want to be careful about is your child avoiding anything at all. Okay. Avoidance is the friend of anxiety. So anything we avoid is going to make us more anxious. So it starts sometimes with children with stomach aches or not wanting to go to school, and you have to be curious about that. Children sometimes become very perfectionistic about their work, sometimes avoidant, sometimes irritable. Anger and anxiety work on the same system of the body. So you want to really pay attention to those symptoms, because anxiety, if you pay attention, always gets better. But if we avoid it, it always gets worse.
And you say, Sandra, that anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. How so?
Well, think about anxiety as your fight or flight system.
Okay.
And think about life without a fight or flight system. You absolutely need it. Let's say you were in danger. What would you do? What would your child do if they didn't have that system? So it's adaptive. If you're in real danger, you need to know what to do. But if you're not in danger and your brain gets a false alarm, that's better known as a panic attack. So you want to know the difference. You want your kids to be armed for danger, to know how to get out or fight. But when they're just anticipating, oh my God, what if that other kid doesn't like me? Then we're in anxiety.
Okay, so the holidays are upon us. I mean, how do you know? Like, why are we seeing this more and more? Why are kids so anxious these days?
Okay, well, in general, we're seeing a high amount of anxiety. I remember us talking. It's like, even at the clinic, we're seeing more anxiety in children than ever, and that's very disturbing to me.
You're saying 49% now of the people that come into the clinic are children.
Yes, and I opened an adult-only clinic. Wow. So, and I did open it for adults for the children, though. Yeah. But we're seeing it more and more because it's become very popular to either allow your children to go on technology a lot, which technology really should be a privilege, not a right.
Okay. A privilege, not a right.
Okay. Yes. Technology affects dopamine in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter, which makes your brain really excited. Some people call it the crack cocaine of the brain. Yeah. So when your child's on technology all the time and then they get off technology, their brain is still going very fast. And then you start to hear them say things like,
I'm bored, I don't know what to do.
And these things called board games or going outside are foreign concepts. So one, watch the technology. Number two, we all have decided we want to be best friends with our children, which sounds nice, but children, like adults, need clear boundaries and consequences. Imagine a world without stop signs or speed limits. It'd be chaotic. It's the same for a child without rules.
How can parents limit or avoid those triggers of anxiety in their children? How can, I mean, I was going to say just control your kid, but like, it's not as simple as that.
Well, make the rules clear.
Yeah.
The rules have to be clear, and the consequences for not respecting the rules have to be clear. Just like the policeman comes along and you say, I'm sorry, I didn't do my stop sign. He says, it's okay, but here's your ticket. Children need tickets too. And they actually appreciate it because an environment with clear boundaries and consequences is a safe environment. So we can still be friends with our kids, but we also have to remember we are parents first. They'll have many friends. They'll only have one set of parents.
We have, Sandra, you know, we only have one set of friends, exactly. Your parents are not your friends, but they can be.
Yeah,
they can be. Okay.
Of course.
So we have about 3 days left until Christmas. Lots of anxiety for parents, which is then transferred to their children. What would be your advice to parents out there right now?
I would definitely ask them to watch the routine. During the holidays, we go off on the routine. We forget that we still need those basics: sleep, food, exercise. Your kids need to move their body. They need some sunshine, and to have realistic expectations about the holidays. This is not a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
Okay? Because we can't live up to it. And if social media is in your household, limit it, because on social media, nobody puts pictures or movies of fights in families. So we all tend to compare upwards, and we all start to think we're not having the life of our friends. It's not true.
Okay, well, Sandra Reich, great advice here. We don't have a lot of time left. I just wanted to say that you do have some resources available for people who are looking for help. Anxiety-videos.com, and there are self-help books as well that are available to people. So if you have anxiety or your children are suffering from anxiety, of course, Sandra Reich, a clinical director of Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression. Thank you so much. Finally get to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure,
Thank
Catherine.
you for coming on the
you.
show. Stay tuned to Breakfast Television, guys. So much more coming up.